Hi guys, Ryan Terry here, and today we're down here at Crayford Weights Fitness and we're going to take you through an upper body circuit. The reason for that is I'm implementing this into my Olympia prep because we're now 4 weeks out from the Olympia. So the first muscle part we hit was back, and we did 3 exercises, which the first one was a lat pull down, supersetted with a seated row, supersetted with a high, would you say, machine row. We did 20 reps on each, 30 seconds rest in between, and we hit that 3 times.
I noticed when you was training that your back is a lot thicker, more dense, and just upper body's a lot more fuller. Could you contribute that to some of the exercises or ways you've trained differently to kind of build that thickness?
Yeah, so my focus this year after the Olympia was to try and increase muscle mass, hence why I didn't compete all year. And that was one of my main focuses, getting the calories in. I had a good off season, and it was focusing on more thickness, going back to the basic heavy weights again, low reps, long rest periods, where I got into a routine because I was prepping all year, all the time. I was doing high reps constantly. So for me to go back to that type of training where I started, where I began, that's when I started to build muscle. And yeah, I do feel that's helped a lot. And as I'm coming down on this prep, I'm trying to come in slowly, not do anything too drastic, just to try and maintain as much mass as I can whilst chipping away at that body fat.
Whilst chipping away with the body fat, what's the kind of things you've been doing with your coach Neil on this, like in terms of where you're at now at 4 weeks out? Is there any drastic changes, or are you keeping things quite simple? Yeah,
so we sat down this past weekend because we're at the 4-week mark, and obviously because we're new working together and stuff, and we're trying to figure out how my body works and things like that, and if there's anything we can change to improve and things. We sat down this weekend, looked over previous preps and previous conditioning photos and stuff, and saw that we kind of needed to speed the process up a bit, get back on track slightly. We were slightly behind. Even though we looked fuller and bigger, which was always the aim, I felt like I was sacrificing a bit of condition, and my waist was slightly bigger. So we have dipped into the carbs a lot more, so I am starting to feel it now, and we've increased the expenditure. So I've introduced PM cardio now, and these upper body circuits and lower body circuits, which are very taxing, very intense, and yeah, it doesn't half strip body fat.
Have you changed your meal timings in terms of having carbs at a certain time of the day as opposed to fats? Have you switched things, so less of it?
So as such, my fats are still really in the evening. My low calorie, high protein sources, i.e. chicken, turkey, fish, white fish, is still in the day. I have reduced my carb intake per meal, so we have taken that down. And I've taken carbs out of my last meal before bed, which I'm still having, like steak, and we're still having a high amount of carbs because I have a fast metabolism. We still need quite a lot of carbs in my diet, but in order to get that reaction, to keep the metabolism fired up and to keep that body fat coming off, we have had to dip somewhere. We then moved on to chest, and the 3 exercises we used was a seated incline press, supersetted with a pec deck, then supersetted with a decline seated press. Again, we went for 20 reps on each, 30-second rest, and we repeated that 3 times. I think it's very easy to go away from the principles of training and try and lift as heavy as they can, as quick as they can, because especially when you're in bodybuilding gyms and things like that, and your egos are flying everywhere, and you neglect that form. And it's not about the weight is what going to help you grow. Obviously, it's the right nutrition and it's the right form and getting that muscle contraction. So for me, I would always go back to basics. Like something I've had to do this year on my triceps. My shoulders became very dominant on my triceps, because whenever I started to go too heavy, my shoulders took over. So I've gone back to basics, and I took the weight right down, and I started to focus on form, technique, and just get that mind to muscle connection again before increasing the weight. And I feel that has really improved a lot. So for people who are starting out, I would really focus on form, get that correct, get a good foundation before you start hitting the mass weight.
Is there anything supplementation-wise that you've just put in because of now you're feeling a bit more tired?
Certain supplements that I've now implemented into around training is L-carnitine. It's a great supplement to aid in fat loss, but to give you energy also whilst you're training, because I'm starting to fatigue and I don't really want to go towards caffeine. So L-carnitine is a good energy source, and it's productive in fat loss. So that's something I've brought into play now. I have started having BCAAs in the day as also, because I'm training 3 times a day. It is very taxing. I'm reduced on calories, so I'm in a deficit now, so I'm trying to protect what muscle I can. And I'll have the Targo post-workout with my Blue Lab whey, which is a blend of whey concentrate, whey isolate and hydrolysate. So we moved on to shoulders, and we started with a dumbbell seated press, supersetted with pec deck rear fly, supersetted with a dumbbell lateral raise. Again, following the same format as before, 20 reps on each exercise with a 30-second rest in between. Repeat that 3 times. We then moved on to arms. Because arms are a smaller muscle group, I only hit 2 exercises with that. And we started with triceps, which was a rope push down, supersetted with a dip machine. As you could see, I alternated from front to back just to get a feel for it and to see which one hits my triceps more. And I found leaning away from the machine, was a better squeeze on my tricep. Again, we went for 20 reps on each, repeated it 3 times with a 30-second rest. So biceps, we had a preacher curl machine and we did a rope hammer curl. Again, superset that 3 times, 20 reps on each, and this is really about focusing on the squeeze. And for me also, I went slightly heavier than I would normally do on a circuit. The reason for that is I'm trying to keep a lot of volume within my arms, trying to keep size, so I'm forcing as much blood as I can in there. So I would do that 3 times with a 30-second rest. And then to finish the upper body weighted circuit, we went on to abs. So we did a machine abdominal crunch supersetted with a lying leg raise. So for me, I've always believed I wanted to stand out and be very different. So my posing, it's either love or hate relationship. So people either, like the fact that I'm very different, or they hate the fact that I'm very different. So I wanted to be unique, and my routine is very different this year, but it's still showing like my best assets, I believe. So I've incorporated a routine where it hits like so it shows my tapered waist and my lats and things like that, and I try to make it as fluent as possible and as individual as possible. So yeah, we're coming in with a different routine, but hopefully it'll pay out on the day. Grass needs cutting, pal.
It does, Ryan, yeah. It's 2 weeks worth, that, mate.
What?
It's 2 weeks worth of
Is it?
nothingness. There you go. Oh, thank you.
Thank you.
Slowly being wrong on my side.
I say it might not have changed, but in my head I feel better, so mentally, even if it's just mentally. No, just
I drifted
say
it
that.
now. I'm not biased.
So you've just been doing higher intensity but the same modalities, yeah?
Yeah, because we're running it ourselves, me and Amy, we're just trying to,
At the same time, as long as you've kept your carbs and stuff in, then I wouldn't be...
Yeah,
Yeah, I think it looked good, mate. I think it looked really good. It does look more 2016 now,
Tight, yeah.
around your mid down there, definitely, in midsection.
Like I say, I can feel it all starting to separate. It's starting to thin now. But I've still got a couple of weeks to get that off. But yeah,
because you're actually your leanest on the calipers than what you were in 2016.
Oh,
so
really?
yeah, we've pushed that red button. But I think
push that red button.
I think what's probably more important is you're actually still on trend from where we were 2 weeks ago, where we were dropping a percent a week. You know, you were 7%, and then you've gone to there. But having done what you've done, then you know that's with that up in that training volume. Yeah, you've basically carried on the percentage loss of which we were at before. Umbilical, a mil off there, superiliac nearly a mil off there. So these are all coming in nicely. Yes, I've upped my volume, but I'm also keeping my calories in for now. You know.
Yeah, happy days. But now I know I can ease off a bit. Now, not ease off, obviously, the intensity and stuff, but I know now the 7 days I've caught back up, and I know, yeah.
Well, the tweaks now can come through calorie manipulation a bit more, rather than stupid training volume. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, brilliant.
Right, so we're on to the second meal of the day, which is 165 grams of chicken breast. We have 200 grams of white potato, asparagus or any green vegetables really, but I'm a bit partial to asparagus, and then 50 grams of avocado. So there we have my fibres, my protein, my carbs, and my essential fats.